Alzheimer's disease is a chronic neurodegenerative disease that accounts for 60 to 70% of all cases of dementia. It is the most common form of dementia in those over 60.
Symptoms of Alzheimer's disease gets progressively worse as the disease develops in each person. These symptoms include short-term memory loss, speech and language problems, low mood and anxiety, long-term memory loss, hallucinations and delusions, and eventually will lead to death.
Within the cell membranes of neurons there are proteins called amyloid precursor proteins. Over time, these amyloid precursor proteins become damaged and need to be replaced. Enzymes known as alpha and gamma secretase cleave the proteins into soluble amino acids. However, if alpha secretase is replaced by beta secretase, a protein called amyloid beta is produced, which is not soluble. Amyloid beta builds up in the central nervous system, forming amyloid beta plaques. These plaques block the intercellular signalling pathways, reducing functionality. Cells have support structures just like our skeleton, known as cytoskeletons. Beta amyloid plaque buildups outside the neuron initiate cell signalling pathways, leading to enzymes known as kinases, phosphorylating tau proteins and changing their shape. Tau proteins are integral to the structure of microtubules within the cytoskeleton, allowing them to transport molecules and ions around the cell. Once damaged, microtubules release tau proteins into the cytosol, where they bind to form tangles. This leads to the cell being unable to function and eventually apoptosis.
The gene for APP is located on chromosome 21. People who suffer from Down syndrome have 3 copies of chromosome 21, therefore have an increased expression of APP. This, in turn, increases the risk of developing early onset Alzheimer's disease.
Late onset Alzheimer's is linked to the gene ApoE. ApoE transcribes an enzyme which breaks down amyloid beta proteins. The E4 allele of ApoE is less effective at degrading amyloid beta. Inheriting the E4 variant of ApoE gives an increased risk of disease.
Risk factors for Alzheimer's can fall into 2 categories: unavoidable and avoidable. The unavoidable factors are age, there is an increased risk if over 65, gender, there is an increased risk if you are female, and ethnicity, there is an increased risk if you are South Asian. The avoidable are head injuries for boxers and rugby players, increased LDL cholesterol, and low amounts of exercise. Things you can do to prevent Alzheimer's is taking regular exercise, doing mental activities, and caffeine consumption.
Thanks for watching!